My name is Warren Freeman. This is episode 11, and I'll be reviewing Smackdown from September 10th, 2021. Given that today is September 11th, I figured I would share with you real quickly my experience with the tragedy that happened 20 years ago. Everyone says that you know where you were when this happened, right? So I was in seventh grade. I was sitting in science class. Typical day, nothing really going on that I can remember. And a teacher ran into the classroom and says, "You guys turn the TV on right now. The towers have been hit." Now, at this time, I didn't know what the towers were or their significance to our country. But when the teacher turned the TV on, I did realize that we as a country have been attacked. And I remember, going home, my family's kind of all freaking out. I turn on the TV. It's literally on every single channel. And I didn't realize I realized that our country's under attack, but I didn't real. But it took me getting older to truly realize what impact that had on our country. And yeah, so just all I can say is, given that this is the 20th anniversary of that event, just don't take life for granted, man. Appreciate life. Tell your loved ones that you love them. Let them know that they're loved. Mom, dad, sister, significant other, brother, sister. Tell your people in your life that you care about. Let them know that they're loved, and just don't take life for granted, because those people, 3,000 plus people that died that day between the towers and the plane. I'm sure they couldn't. I'm sure they would not have guessed that their lives were going to end that day. Families, waiting for their father to come home, and he never comes home. So yeah, all I could say is just appreciate life and don't take it for granted, and just remember what today is all about, and also realize that freedom isn't free. And that's basically all I have to say there. So SmackDown starts off with a 9/11 tribute. They would do a couple of 9/11 tributes throughout the show. I watched yesterday. I guess Lillian Garcia showed up and sang "America the Beautiful," and I guess it was like on the dark. Not. I guess it was before the show went on the air, but I watched it on Facebook, and I teared up just as much as I did 20 years ago when SmackDown did their show on 9/13/2001, and that was the first public gathering of its size since the events of 9/11. So that's why that's very significant. And man, I can still remember to this day Lillian Garcia singing the national anthem on 9/13/2001. And when she hit those notes and our flag was still there. Whew, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it now. And you can even see it in Lillian's eyes, like the emotion coming out of her singing that song. But yeah, she sung it again for this episode of SmackDown, but they didn't put it on the air. I think they should have, but they didn't. But it's cool. So the Roman Reigns segment kicks off the show. Roman Reigns comes out. Also, it was announced on the website, I think yesterday, that Roman Reigns was going to face Finn Balor, but we're still building to this Roman Reigns versus Brock too. So it's like we're building two programs at once. So Roman comes out and cuts a heel promo. He turns to Paul Heyman. He turns to Paul Heyman and he says, "So the WWE runs New York, right?" Heyman says, "Yeah." And who runs WWE? Oh, you, my tribal chief. So that means I run New York, right? That means I run Smackdown, right? So I run New York. So y'all got to acknowledge me. Now, it's a typical heel promo, but these fans are cheering. And they're even chanting, Roman, Roman. But then when Brock Lesnar's music hit, the volume just gets to another level. So Brock comes out in his man bun. You know what? Y'all should thank me. Because I was going to do like an Eminem... You know when Eminem dissed MGK about the man bun, I was gonna do like a Brock Lesnar rap. I was gonna be like, "How you gonna be a man beast with a man bun?" I was gonna do like a whole thing like over the kill shot beat, but I didn't do it, and it would have been brutal. So you're welcome for me not doing that. I still might. So don't fucking tempt me. And that won't be the last MGK reference I make tonight. I'm gonna make another MGK reference tonight as well. Because it fits. So Brock comes out and he basically says, Paul Heyman first grabs the mic and says, out of all the championships we can go after, why the Universal title? And you had to believe that Paul Heyman was going to say, why don't we go after the WWE title, which I think Brock versus Lashley would be a money match. But Brock cuts him off and says, Paul, how come you didn't tell Roman I was going to be at SummerSlam? So Roman Reigns looks at him, grabs his championship, and then him and the Usos walk out of the ring. And then Heyman goes into his old Brock Lesnar shtick. My name is Paul Heyman, and I was the advocate for the longest reigning WWE heavyweight champion of all time, Brock Lesnar. And the fans lose it. And Brock puts it over like, oh, man, just like old times, Brock. And Brock's like, hey, Roman's going to fire you, right? So before he does, accept my challenge for the Universal title. And you got 5 seconds. He pauses for like 3 seconds, so it was really like 8. So he goes to 5, 4, 3, 2, and then it doesn't even say 1. He picks up Heyman for the F5. Reigns saves him with a Superman punch. And then the Usos attack Lesnar. Lesnar eats 2 super kicks. And then clotheslines both Usos, takes him to Suplex City, and then stares down Roman Reigns. Pat McAfee had 2 great lines here that I wrote down. The first one was, I believe he said this at SummerSlam too, after he said, holy shit. He said Brock Lesnar is the alpha male of our species. As he's beating the Usos up, he also says it looks like Brock Lesnar ate Brock Lesnar. And then he says this other line. I didn't write this down, but I remembered it. He said, if the aliens were coming and we needed a human to fight them, Brock Lesnar is who we'd send. So all these cheesy-ass quotes from Pat McAfee, but it works. Then we go to a 10-man tag match, and I actually wrote Playa. Like, I didn't even mean to write that. I think I was just taking notes, and I just subconsciously wrote Playa. Like, a 10-man tag is like a Teddy Long wet dream right there. Like, holla, holla. So, okay, we got a big ass. So I wrote it down. All right, so we got the Intercontinental Champion, King Nakamura, teaming up with Rey Mysterio, Dominic, and Big E, and Rick Brooks, versus the heel team of Sami Zayn, Apollo Crews, the Dirty Dogs, Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode, and Otis. And then, of course, that team is accompanied by General Aziz, Chad Gable, and Sami Zayn also brings out Trae Young, who plays for the Atlanta Hawks. I know nothing about basketball. All I know is they mentioned it on commentary that the Hawks knocked out the New York Knicks in the playoffs. So Sammy Young brought out Trae Young as a heat magnet. Trae Young gets involved in the match. And this is another situation where, it should be a DQ. And I was gonna give it a dislike, but I'm not gonna give it a dislike because I understand why the referee didn't disqualify Sami Zayn and just threw Trey Young out. Because then you wouldn't get the face pop at the end where Big E pins Sami Zayn. They do the double 619 on Sami Zayn, and then Big E gets to win with the big ending. I think it would make sense for Dominic to have gotten a win there since he lost twice to Sami Zayn the past 2 weeks. But Big E won. And then he cuts the promo, and he basically says, answer the question that I've been asking amongst my group of wrestling fans. Some of my friends believe that Big E can only stay within his brand and cash in on Roman Reigns, but Big E says no. Whether it's the almighty Bobby Lashley or Roman Reigns, if you got what I want, I'm coming for your neck. So that answered the question for me. So Big E can go to Monday Night Raw and cash in on Bobby Lashley if he chooses to, which I think would be a great story, considering that Bobby Lashley basically raped Kofi Kingston at Money in the Bank. And remember a couple weeks ago, Goldberg said that it was no longer about the championship, that he just wants to rip Bobby Lashley's soul from his chest. So why not have Goldberg come back, beat the shit out of Bobby Lashley, and there's your cash in. All right. Page 2. I take a lot of notes. But my notes are obviously bigger for Raw because this is a 3-hour show. Smackdown's 2-hour show. All right, so we go to the contract signing. And so this is here comes my MGK reference again. So Bianca cuts her promo talking about how she respects Becky Lynch. We all know how great she is. I respect her as a new mom. And I wrote in my notes, so Bianca takes the MGK approach, talking about how, she respects her and everything. The same thing MGK did in his diss track to Eminem. When he's talking about, I respect you, Marshall, your idol's my rival, and your idol's your rival. He basically, instead of dissing Eminem, which he did diss Eminem a little bit, but he was throwing all these compliments at him, So, and I felt like Bianca was doing that to Becky Lynch. Like, I respect you, but I don't respect you as much now because the Becky Lynch I knew would never run from a challenge. So, because Becky Lynch turned her down the past couple weeks for a title match. So, Bianca signs the contract. Becky Lynch comes out looking like a complete douchebag. I mean, she has these oversized glasses for her face. She has this red fur coat. I don't know what Becky Lynch is trying to do here. I mean, if her idea was to look like an unlikable douchebag, she's got that down to a T. So Becky Lynch comes out and she teases not signing the contract. And then Bianca Belair says, sign the damn contract. And I swear she sounds like every black mother ever. Like, take out the damn trash. Or pick up the damn clothes. Like, she just sounded like a black mom. It was so awesome. Then Becky Lynch cuts a heel promo talking about, I left my child at home to come and entertain for you guys. This is how you treat me, yada, yada, yada. And then she signs the contract. She throws the contract at Bianca, and Bianca catches it. And then Becky leaves the ring, and then they play Bianca's music. Honestly, I think if Bianca would have just let that contract hit her in the face, I think that would have been funnier. But I get the whole catching the contract. It makes Bianca still look strong. But yeah. So I like that segment. They recap Edge and Rollins at SummerSlam, and that leads into Edge and Rollins, the rematch from SummerSlam. But in between those two, Paul Heyman, they do the skit backstage where Paul Heyman's on the phone, and Shotzi and Tegan Knox, Shotzi Blackheart and Tegan Knox go riding by in their tank, saying, Paul, do you want to ride? And Paul just looks at him. Then Paul runs into Kayla Braxton, And I forgot to talk about earlier. Paul Heyman called Kayla Braxton a Jersey girl, which got a pop from the crowd. But again, Kayla Braxton interrupts Paul Heyman and basically asks him, "Hey, do you got an update? You know, what's Reigns going to say about Brock Lesnar's challenge?" And Heyman says, "Well, after the Usos defeat the Street Profits, then Reigns will make his decision on whether he's going to face Brock Lesnar or not." Paul Heyman turns around, runs into Big E. Big E laughs at him again. So they're teasing the hell out of Big E, cashing in on. They're teasing the hell out of Big E cashing in on Reigns, but the interactions only seem to be between Big E and Paul Heyman. So, and like it was revealed earlier, we now know, hey, Reigns can go to Raw if he wants. So we go to Edge versus Rollins. I gave this match a like. Sometimes you just can't outdo your first. That being said, this match was awesome. The only critique I have is a botched Grand Slam that Edge hit, or that Rollins hit on Edge. But then Rollins hooked the arms and did the Grand Slam again. It seemed like every time Seth would go for a move, Edge would counter it and then do it. So Seth went for a pedigree and then Edge countered and then Edge got the pedigree. Seth would go for Edge's execution. Edge would counter and Edge would get the execution. Seth hit a buckle bomb and I cringed as soon as Seth went for that buckle bomb because he's taking out Finn Balor with it and he took out Sting with it. And Sting's was a neck injury, so Balor was the shoulder. But you could tell Edge was adjusting himself in the powerbomb position so that he wouldn't take it to the back of the neck. He took the impact on the shoulder. Speaking of powerbombs, Edge countered a curb stomp into a sit-down powerbomb, which was pretty sick. But then the climax of the match happens where the referee gets sandwiched. Seth Rollins hits a low blow on Edge. Super kicks him like 3 times. Edge is like, the camera gets in and catches Edge looking right at Seth Rollins. Very Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair-esque type visual where like the guy sees the super kick coming and then Seth just, hits the super kick. Hit him 3 times with the super kick, then hit the stomp, and Seth won. They did the whole carrying Edge out on a gurney or on a stretcher gimmick. And then they interview Rollins backstage. And he gives a real despondent response. Like, basically saying, I don't know how to feel. I don't think I feel anything. So that's interesting. I'm interested to see where that goes. Then we go to our main event. Where Rollins gives a pep talk to the Usos. And then we come back from commercial break. We go to our main event. Street Profits versus the Usos. Commentators talked about how the Street Profits beat the Usos last week, but failed to mention that they beat them by disqualification. And I'm not going to get into my whole rant on that again. I did it last week about the champions, having a number 1 contender match against the challenger or whatever. So, this match was pretty good. Ended on a DQ, so I gave it a dislike for the DQ finish. But the match was great. Montez does this crazy flip over the ropes. That's when Roman Reigns comes out. We go to commercial break. We come back from commercial break. Montez Ford loses a shoe doing a super kick or an enziguri. And I'm telling you, Montez Ford is now on his Terry Funk shit. Like, he's just out there wrestling with 1 shoe on. I should probably address that. So, we all know about the legendary Hell in a Cell match between Undertaker and Mankind, where Taker throws Foley off the cell and then chokeslams him through the cell. So, to give Foley time to recover, Terry Funk goes in and feeds to the Undertaker. Undertaker gives Terry Funk a chokeslam, and he literally comes out of a shoe, and it's great. So, I text my friend, Harry, when I was watching the show this morning. I was saying that Montez Ford is on his Terry Funk shit. And I'm sure he'll get the reference. But anyway, Hawkins kicks out of the super kick and the splash combo, Angelo, Dawkins. I'm sorry, I don't know why I wrote Hawkins in my notes, but Dawkins kicked out of the super kick splash combo. Ford makes a blind tag. One of the Usos goes down. Ford hits the frog splash. Where Ford does this thing now where he like turns his body around midair and hits the frog splash. It's impressive. Reigns breaks up the pin and causes the DQ. So 2 weeks in a row, the Street Profits have beaten the Usos by disqualification. I don't like that booking, but Roman Reigns basically chokes out Montez Ford, gets on the microphone and says, "Nobody is safe, man. I'm the Tribal Chief." Ugh. And he says, as far as Lesnar's challenge goes, I accept because I'm going to smash Brock Lesnar right after I get done smashing Finn Balor. And then the lights go out, and then the red lights come on, and you know what's about to go down. You hear the music. Demon Finn Balor appears and shits on, right? So he gets in the ring, he goes face to face, he stares down Roman Reigns, and then we go off air. Yeah, that was great to see this Demon. We haven't seen him in a while. I think WrestleMania 35 was the last time we saw Demon Finn Balor when he beat Bobby Lashley for the Intercontinental title. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was it. So I got 6 dislikes, 1 dislike. This is going to be my first A, man, of this season. Yeah, this was a really great show. There was nothing that I disliked about this show except the finish to the tag title match. So great show. So now we find out who is my MVP of the week. Yeah, I'm going to go with Demon Finn Balor as my MVP of the week. I went over my Raw notes, and nothing really happened on Raw that impressed me. Matt Riddle is always funny, so Riddle always gets, on this segment, Riddle is going to appear as an honorable mention for me. Brock Lesnar was an honorable mention. Edge and Rollins, again, we're going to be a double MVP of the week. Another honorable mention. But yeah, I got to give it to Demon Finn Balor. I think he made the most impact this week for me personally, and that's who won. So that's my MVP of the week. This has been my review of Smackdown, and you guys have a wonderful day again. I figured I'll just bookend it here. Just remember what the day is about, and don't take life for granted. I love you all. You guys have a nice night.